A man's name may echo in war, but it is his choices that echo in eternity. Before the rains came, before the drums beat of conquest, before the spears kissed the skies, there was silence. A silence so profound, the ancestors themselves would listen. In the vast open land of Aduya, where the wind painted secrets across the savannah and the river sang songs older than fire, stood the village of Mbale. Nestled between the thorned acacia trees and the vast golden plains, Mbale was not just a place, it was a soul. The villagers believed the land was alive, breathing through the trees, crying in the rivers, laughing in the thunder. It was a place where names meant something, where children were named not by birth but by dreams. And on a night when the moon glowed red like the eyes of a lion in the bush, a boy was born. The elders said the earth held its breath when he arrived. His mother named him Jabari, the brave. Jabari's early years were shaped by silence, observation, and reverence. He would sit by the river and listen to the elders' tales, of gods and ghosts, of betrayal and bravery, of love that cursed kingdoms and silence that saved them. By 12, he could hit the heart of a tree with a spear. By 16, he could walk barefoot through fire trials without a single cry. By 20, he had become a warrior, not just in title, but in spirit. The kind of warrior whose presence demanded silence. The kind who did not speak until every ear was listening. Yet beneath the lion's roar was the heartbeat of a man at war with himself. The core tension. In Jabari's world, honor was measured by blood spilled in battle. The more you took, the more your spirit was revered. It was not cruelty. It was culture. Not hatred, but heritage. Yet Jabari questioned, who decided which enemy deserved death? He never voiced his doubts. Not when the village feasted in celebration of his first kill. Not when his father, the great Chuma, whose name meant iron, looked upon him with pride. Jabari smiled with his mouth but mourned with his soul, and then came the river festival. Enter Amina. From the Dakari tribe, where the rivers flowed wider and the language tasted like song, Amina arrived with her people to celebrate peace, a rare moment between the rival tribes. She wore beads the color of fire, and her laughter was the kind that made trees sway. She told stories with her hands. She danced as if the earth moved for her, and she asked Jabari the one question no one ever dared. Do you want to fight, or are you just expected to? Jabari had no answer, just silence. But the question lived inside him like a slow fire. Months passed. The river dried earlier than it should have. Crops failed. Cattle died. And blame, as it always does, sought a target. The Dakari accused Mbale of poisoning the upstream wells. Mbale claimed the Dakari had stolen their sacred drums. Words became warnings, warnings became spears, peace became dust. One night, under the ancestor moon, the council summoned Jabari. The Dakari march at sunrise, said Elder Tau. You will lead our warriors, Jabari. You will bring us victory. Jabari nodded, but his soul trembled. That night he walked alone to the baobab tree, the sacred one, where the names of fallen warriors were carved into bark, and where the spirits whispered to those who dared listen. He lit incense of red clay and crushed sage. He placed his hand on the trunk and he asked, can I still be a warrior if I choose not to kill? There was no answer, but the wind grew still. Amina appeared that night. She had crossed enemy lines, not with a spear but with a story. She held no weapon, only a letter from the Dakari matriarchs, calling for one final council. A child has been born to both our tribes, she said, voice breaking. My sister bore him. His father is Dakari, his mother from Mbale. What will this child be if we kill each other? Jabari looked into her eyes and saw not the Dakari enemy, but the same fear he carried. Still, dawn came, and so did war. The turning point. The battlefield was a flat stretch by the dying river. Spears shimmered in the morning sun. War cries pierced the air. Jabari stood before his men, painted in ash, drenched in meaning. And yet, something in him broke. He raised his spear and drove it into the ground. I will not kill, he shouted. Gasps, anger, confusion. You dishonor us, cried one warrior. You shame your ancestors, yelled another. But Jabari stood firm. Shame is spilling blood for pride. Shame is raising children on stories of revenge. My honor lives in peace. One by one, his men hesitated. Spears wavered. Eyes met across lines. Memories surfaced. Then, in a moment that broke history, the Dakari chief removed his helmet. His name was Osei. He was the brother of Jabari's slain mentor. He looked at Jabari and then dropped his spear. What followed was silence so deep, it felt like forgiveness. The two tribes did not become one, but they stopped being enemies. The river was cleansed. The land healed. Children of both bloods ran together. Amina and Jabari married beneath the baobab tree where they told stories, not of war, but of the courage it takes to not fight. Jabari became not the chief of warriors, but of words. He taught the young that war is easy, but peace is earned. When Jabari grew old and his body bent like the bows he once carried, the people of Mbale gathered beneath the tree where his legend began. He did not leave behind a spear, but a legacy. He whispered one last story to his grandson. When the world tells you to hate, listen for the wind. If it is still, the ancestors are watching, and they will guide your hand toward wisdom. The baobab tree still stands, and when the wind blows just right, they say you can hear Jabari's voice, not shouting, not weeping, but telling a story. It is easy to become a warrior, but it takes generations to become wise. So now we ask you, when your battle comes, and what will you lay down, and what will you stand for?